Time, folks. Power 5 after week 2. I always start with number 5 and then I'll work my way down to number 1. Okay. Rams. Speaking of the devil, considering the fact they've had injuries, considering the fact that um, Matt Stafford has had this back injury, I'm pretty freaking impressed with them. I like the way they're getting Devontae Adams involved in the offense. He's a good. Now, people disagree with me, but I still think he's the number 2 receiver. Some may say he's number 1. I say he's the number 2. He's 33 years old now. Love the route tree they got for him. Had a good game Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. So did everybody. Offsetting Puka Nacua. We already know about the defense. Jared Verse, potential defensive player of the year candidate coming into the season. The guy's got 71% completion percentage this year. He's played really well against Texans and Tennessee. Also, the defense is 4th in yards allowed, 1st in points. Now, of course, they played the Texans and the Titans but the Texans won their division last year. Okay, so Texans are no slap. They won their division 2 years in a row. Okay, but they're 1st in points allowed. They're 4th in yards. So the defense is it. We saw what they did to Minnesota last year. We saw how the defense kept them in the game against the eventual Super Bowl champ. We saw how they actually played the Eagles in the playoffs better than anybody. They were 1 play away from beating the Eagles potentially. 2 plays technically, but Puka Nacua catches that ball. They go on and score. It leaves very little time for the Eagles to get back up there and do something. But either way, that has came over into this season. They're 2-0. I don't know how long, but they're number 5. They're number 5 in my Power 5. The Rams. Okay, number 4, the LA Chargers. Listen, won that tough road game in Brazil. I don't recall them being there anytime prior to that. Played really well, minus the fact that that was their first game without Rashawn Slater against that defensive line that's pretty good there. Pretty good there in Kansas City. I picked Kansas City in that game in their opener. And, of course, they played well last night against the Raiders, as expected there. But there's no real drop-off. Matter of fact, Justin Herbert, he's a dark horse to win the MVP this year, if you ask me. That's early in the season. I get it. But he's 3rd in passing, 3rd in QBR without the right tackle. It hasn't affected him. Defense 3rd in points per game. Remember, they played Kansas City, and they played the Raiders here. All I know, Kansas City is not a juggernaut, but it's still pretty good for 2 games here. And you throw in Herbert's play there, getting involved other players in their offense there. With Quentin Johnson there, I noticed he had a pretty good game last night. And Lad McConkey is going to get his. He's going to get his. And, of course, the running game they've got. So I got them at number 4. I think the Chargers are sharp right now. Playing with a lot of swagger. Jim Harbaugh's gotten his team playing well. The opposite of a Tennessee team. Pretty well coached football team. Love the way Greg Roman, like I said in week 1, caught a magnet. He was ahead of Steve Spagnuolo all game long in week 1. So very impressed. Got the Chargers at number 4. Number 3 in my Power 5 here. Buffalo, of course. Would Buffalo be higher? Yeah, but they gave up that 40 burger to the Baltimore Ravens. Defensively, that was a major letdown now. It's early. It's September. As I've said before, you're going to see these high-scoring games here. You're going to see these wild, high-scoring games in September. But that being said, they come roaring back in that game. Right now, they're number 1 offense in the NFL. They're 2nd in passing, 2nd running. So they're just not a one-dimensional team. You hear what I said? Second in passing, second in rushing. That's pretty good. This defense will get better. When you added Joey Bosa, their first 4 picks, I want to say, was all defense. That will get better. I don't think it's going to get. I don't think it's going to be maintained like this. They did a good job against the run against the Jets. Practically shut down Brees Hall, kept him under 40 yards there. When I thought he was going to run wild against them, kind of like he did against Pittsburgh, found out Pittsburgh's run defense isn't that good. But anyways, let me go back to part 2 here. The defense will get better as they usually do, and the offense will keep humming again, first and second in the league in yards and rushing. Like I said, they tightened that run defense up this past week, and I think they'll continue to get better. If they don't, they can always make a move at the trade deadline and add some more depth there on their defense to help it out, because this is their year. I had them winning the Super Bowl. So still got them doing that. All right. So they're number 3 in my Power 5. Number 2, this may catch a few people by surprise, but it is what it is. The Eagles, Super Bowl champs, haven't dominated their first 2 games. Remember, 1-score games in both of the teams, one against Dallas and, of course, Kansas City. But that being said, I think they would have played much better against Dallas if Jalen Carter didn't get involved in that Spitgate thing. And listen, I'm still keeping them at 2. I understand that when you win the Super Bowl like they have, the fact that they were in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, like I said earlier, they're going to get everybody's A game, okay? And it's hard to stay up. And Nick Saban talks about this a lot as a college coach. It's hard to keep a team up every single week. Jimmy Johnson talked about this. He said it was harder his second year than it was his first year. He's like, I can tell the team's on the low. He said, I coached twice as hard when we won that second year. They got off to a rough start. Remember, they lost the first 2 games because Emmitt Smith was holding out. They got him back in there. They went on and won the Super Bowl. They beat the Bills again next year, I want to say. And they won back-to-back Super Bowls with a former guest here I've had on the show, Jim Jeffcoat. But it's hard to do. It's hard to keep them up. And plus, it's not the best situation with I mentioned A.J. Brown with his 5 catches, 20-something yards. He may start pouting. Even if they're winning, you got to deal with them diva personalities. So, still great offensive line, really good defensive line, really good secondary there. Their young linebacker out of Alabama, playing well. I think they will get better as the season, as long as Jalen Hurts stays healthy. I don't like all that running, but that's just that's who they are. They're a power running team, and they just grind you away. They can throw it when they need to, but this is a running team. They're more successful when Hurts throws under 25 times a game. Okay? Like I said before, only thing that's going to hurt this Eagles team is this Eagles team, okay? It's going to be within. Of course, injuries, but mainly it's going to be within with them. Very well-run organization. But I got them as number 2 this week. This is just 2 weeks into the season. This is just a snapshot. This ain't how I think they're going to play out throughout. They're number 2 right now. I think they'd be favored against practically anybody in the league, but they're not dominant. They're not the most impressive team to start the season. I think the most impressive team to start the season is the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have beaten 2 playoff teams by double digits. Double digits. That was a 3-score game for a long time against Detroit. And we saw Detroit still pretty good. We saw what they did to Chicago. They thumped Chicago and then turned around and beat this Washington team that was in the NFC Championship game. That's two playoff teams. Beat them by double digits as well. Never felt neither team was really in the game. Defense is legit under Michael Parsons. Third in yards allowed, fourth in points allowed, and they're uh, second against stopping the run here. So much for the Kenny Clark loss there on the defensive line, trading him for Michael Parsons, giving up those picks. So I know they've got some injuries at the, I think it was it named Jaden Reed or whatnot, receiver. He's got a broken collarbone. They're going to get Watson back, but they still got Matt, was it guy Golden, and I love those two tight end combinations. Good running game here. They drafted really well, and they've seemed to simply hit on all those skill players per se. Dobbs is still in there. So I like their balance there. I like the defense. I like their creativity on the offensive side. So let's go back over this again. Number 1, Green Bay in my Power 5. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles in my Power 5. The number 3 team would be the Buffalo Bills. The number 4 team would be the LA Chargers, and the Rams would be 5. That's my top 5 right now. Honorable mention, yeah,